So to come into a space and also to come in with different styles of writers and different kinds of facilitators, I think really sparked a lot of my creativity and gave me space to play a little bit more.
I really appreciated being around fellow thinkers, right? And not only in the participants, but also the facilitators, the people who hold space for us, right? Just being around the space, I can't put it into words, but it feels like there's this playful sort of professionalism that is around the air, right? In the way you guys name spaces, in the way you name yourselves, in the way you just generate whatever it is that is happening. It's gentle, yet playful, but still professional, ethical.
So I think from Neil, I learned a lot about an alternative approach to the ideation and concept development process. But I think he gave us a very thorough methodology that takes us through that process step by step, from a point of intrigue to a point where you have something cogent to say on the topic.
For me, something really special, because I've always struggled with writing, like in the traditional sense. And most of the people who've taught me writing have taught me in a very particular way: citing incident, climatic action, and and all those things, right? But coming here, I got to play and think of writing in a different way, and it didn't feel like a labor, you know. Yeah. So this material is very scratchy, you know. It's made of something that I keep scratching when I'm wearing it, and the scratching informs the gesture, and the gesture informs the voice, and the voice informs the writing.
And from MoMo, I learned her process really portaled me back into my body. Like, I feel like there's enough that has been said about what a solo process and how cerebral and how lonely writing is. And I think she licensed me to sort of dare myself back into my body, because it's very comfortable sitting behind the page, but there's a sense of affinity for risk-taking that I was able to come back to, which has been something that's been missing in my process for a while now.
Being with other people helped me step away from myself a bit, right? And because you're always alone and you're always in your head, you forget that, like, you can let go, right? Let the work sit there for a bit, do other things that can bring you back into the work, right? And that's what helped with doing the games with MoMo, with thinking about words with Jeff, you know, thinking about rhyme instead of just like always just sitting there and thinking, oh, Am I on the right track? Am I still on the style? Am I still doing the right thing here?
With Jeff, it is the intentionality with words, like looking at language as architecture and knowing exactly what fits where and why, and whether or not the thing you're putting in there is detrimental to the greater structure. Can you take it away? Will the building collapse? Or if you put it in, does it add anything to either the aesthetic value or the thing itself?
With that play, it also took us it pushed that play one level further, where we are now playing in front of an audience, and we are taking things that were made during that play and cutting them and shaping them. And what it's really done for me is that it's strengthened my confidence in the process of playing, so that when we are writing for TV or when we're writing for a theater piece or when we're writing for film and we have to go in and cut out 5 pages in 2 minutes, you can go in and just do it. And this has been really invigorating in that way, to just be quite unprecious with your good ideas and getting rid of maybe something you thought was necessary. And maybe it still is, but it's a way to quickly find that out.
I think for most of us, because we're not just a writer, we are other things: visual artists, actors. how do you take all of that and make it one thing, because you are this one person? How do you not just box yourself into, I am a writer and this is who I am and da 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 da, traditional sense of things? Like, how do you play and how do you create something new? Because we all know that there's nothing new under the sun, but how do you, this new person, because you are new, how do you, this new person, come into the world as a poet? We've had poets before, but as a poet, as a player, as a visual artist, how do you come with all these three things and create something that we haven't seen before? Yes, I'm listening and I can hear these words that you're using. I've heard them before, but wow, you used it in a different way that I haven't heard before. And there were a lot of moments where someone was reflecting and I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? And I'm like, how did you think of that? And in that, then something comes up for me. It sparks something in me.
I've never really thought of writing as being a kind of embodied experience, and I think it's partly that's, I've never thought about my writing in the context of theatre or performance, which requires bodies and your body, and I think that this has made that connection quite strongly for me.
I learned how to release expectations. Coming from a world where like art is quite like content filled and there's a lot in the world, it's nice to come here and centralize ideas and learn how to take time with ideas instead of feeling like there's always some big end goal, but rather to be within process and let that be more of a result than any kind of big, large-scale thing, which really has helped, like Melusi said, feel a sense of this is enough, which is really nice.
I've learned so much from the facilitators, but most importantly from the people who are in the room. They think differently, they have different skills, and every time we reflect and we listen, you get to hear their uniqueness, and sometimes it inspires you to start a new process and start a new play.
Main takeaway for me is a confidence in playing and experimenting in a environment or in a space which is theatre, I guess, for me, that is totally foreign. And I think that comes from arriving here and being taken seriously, regardless of what my background is, but and not just being taken seriously, but that play being, and that experimentation being taken very seriously and being valued equally to whatever the outcome is, or if not more so.